Hello, welcome to our channel Learn to Score. In this video, I am going to discuss exercise 1 of 10th class real numbers chapter. I hope you will like the video. Please subscribe to our channel for regular updates. Thank you. Question number 1 is which of the following rational numbers are terminating and which are non-terminating but repeating in their decimal form. The first one is 2 by 5. It is a rational number because it is a ratio of two integers, 2 and 5, right? We want to see whether it is, when it is expressed in decimal form, is it going to be a terminating decimal or non-terminating repeating decimal, right? So to do that, let me divide 2 with number 5 as shown here. This is called long division process. For that reason, we have written 2 as 2.000 and so on. You can have as many zeros as you want, right? Now let's start with number 2. Number 2 is smaller than 5, right? So that's why I'm saying 0 times 5 is 0. Let me subtract 0 from 2 so that I get 2 as the answer, right? Now we have arrived at the dot. So it means we have to put a dot in the quotient part also. Let me put dot there. Now I can bring 0 down, right? When I bring 0 down, 2 becomes 20. We know that 4 times 5 is 20. Subtract 20 from 20 so that you have answer as 0, right? Now let me write 2 by 5 as 0.4. This is the decimal expansion for 2 by 5. It is a terminating decimal, right? Meaning after 4, there is no other digit to represent 2 by 5, right? For that reason, we are calling this as a terminating decimal. Now let's look at the second part of the problem, that is 17 by 18, right? So let me write 17 as 17.0000 and so on. And let me write 18 as shown here. As you see here, 17 is smaller than 18, right? That's why I'm saying 0 times 18 is 0. When I subtract 0 from 17, I get 17 as the answer. Now we have dot here. It means we have to put a dot in the quotient also, right? Now I can bring the first 0 down. When I do that, 17 becomes 170, right? 9 times 18 is 162. Let's subtract 162 from 170. When I do that, I'm getting 8 as the answer, right? I can bring the second 0 down so that 8 becomes 80. Now 4 times 18 is 72. Let me subtract 72 from 80. When I do that, I'm getting 8 as the answer, right? Now let me bring another 0 down. Now the 8 becomes 80. Now you see 4 times 18, subtract 72 from 80 such that again you get 8 as the answer. I can bring another 0 down so that this 8 becomes 80. Again, I will be subtracting 72. I get 8 as the remainder. You know, this process keeps repeating, right? For that reason, we'll stop here and write 17 by 18 as 0.9444 and so on. You see, when I put these 3 dots, it means that number 4 is repeating as many times as you write. For that reason, we can represent it as 0.94 with overbar on 4. It means this particular 4 is a repeating decimal. Got it? Now we can say that when I have something like 0.94444 and so on, it is a non-terminating decimal, right? At the same time, this number 4 is repeating, right? That's why we say that it is a non-terminating and repeating decimal. Got it? Now let's look at the third part of the problem, that is 15 by 16. Let me write 15 as 15.000 and so on. Let me write 16 as shown here. 0 times 16, 0. Let's subtract 0 from 15. You get 15. Now let me put dot and bring first 0 down so that I have 150 now here. 9 times 16 is 144. Let me subtract 144 from 150. When you do that, you get 6 as the answer. Now bring another 0 down. So 6 becomes 60. 3 times 16 is 48, right? Now let me subtract 48 from 60. When I do that, answer I get is 12. Let me bring another 0 down so that 12 becomes 120. 7 times 16 is 112. Let me subtract that. When I subtract 112 from 120, I'm getting 8 as the answer, right? Bring another 0 down. So 8 becomes 80. We know 5 times 16 is 80. When you subtract 80 from 80, you get remainder as 0, right? Now we can write 15 by 16 as 0.9375, right? 0.9375 is a terminating decimal because after 5 there is nothing. We got remainder as 0 here, right? So 15 by 16 is a terminating decimal. Got it? Now let's look at the next part of the problem, that is 7 by 40. Let's divide 7 with 40. Let's go with long division method. 7 is smaller than 40, right? So 0 times 40 is 0. Let me subtract 0 from 7 so that you have 7 as the answer. We have dot here. Let's put dot in the quotient also. Now I can bring 0 down so that it becomes 70. 1 times 40 is 40. When I subtract 40 from 70, I get 30 as the answer, right? Now let me bring another 0 down. So 30 becomes 300. 7 times 40 is 280. Let me subtract 280 from 300. So the answer is 20. I can bring another 0 down so that 20 becomes 200. 5 times 40 is 200. Let me subtract 200 from 200. The remainder is 0, right? Now since the remainder is 0, we can write 7 by 40 as 0.175. It is a terminating decimal. Got it? Now let's look at 9 by 11. 9 divided by 11. So 9 is smaller than 11. So 0 times 11 is 0. Subtract 0 from 9. Then you have dot here. Put dot in the quotient also. Then bring the first 0 down so that 9 becomes 90. 8 times 11 is 88. Right? When you subtract 88 from 90, you have 2 as the answer. Let me bring the second 0 so that 2 becomes 20, right? 1 times 11 is 11. Let me subtract 11 from 20. I'll get 9 as the answer. Let me bring another 0 down. So 9 becomes 90. 8 times 11 is 88. Again, when you subtract 88 from 90, you get 2 as the answer. Bring another 0 down. Right? It has become 20. 1 times 11, when you subtract 11 from 20, you get 9 as the answer. Look at this. We have here 9 as the answer. Then here we have 9 as the answer. We have 9 as the answer here. Similarly, we are getting 2 as the remainder here, 2 as the remainder here. And if you process further, we'll be getting 2 as the remainder again, right? So this we'll stop here and write 9 by 11 as 0.81, 81, and so on, right? It is a non-terminating and repeating decimal. It is a non-terminating because you see, I can write as many times 81 as possible, right? 0.81, 81, 81, 81, 81, and so on. I can write it that way. That's why we say that it is a non-terminating and repeating decimal. Got it? Question number 2. Find any rational number between the pair of numbers given below. We are given 3 pairs of numbers. We are asked to find any rational number between the pair of numbers given below. Let's start with the first one. That is 2 by 5 and root 1, right? Root 1 can be written as 1. It means we have to find a rational number between 2 by 5 and 1. We learned that if a and b are rational numbers, then the rational number in the middle of a and b is a plus b by 2. Now, if I have to write the rational number in the middle of 2 by 5 and 1, I can write it as 2 by 5 plus 1 by 1 divided by 2, right? A is 2 by 5 and B is 1, that can be written as 1 by 1, right? Now, let's find the value of the numerator, 2 by 5 plus 1 by 1. Look at the denominators of these two ratios. Number 5 is their LCM, right? Let me write that. Now let me write 2. LCM is 5, right? Divide that with this particular 5. When you do that, you get 5 by 5, right? Now let me add, because there is a plus sign here, let me write plus sign there and then put this particular 1 as is and then put bracket. Now divide number 5, which is the LCM, with number 1. When I do that, I can write it as 5 by 1, right? Now let me simplify this and write it. So 2 times 1 plus 1 times 5 divided by 5, right? This is 2 plus 5 by 5, that is equal to 7 by 5, right? The numerator is clear, that is 7 by 5. Now we have to find the value of 7 by 5 divided by 2, right? 7 by 5 divided by 2 by 1, we can write it as, instead of dividing 7 by 5 with 2 by 1, what I'm going to do is I'm multiplying 7 by 5 with 1 by 2. 2 by 1 and 1 by 2 are multiplicative inverse to each other, right? So when you do that, you get answer as 7 by 10, right? So the rational number in the middle of 2 by 5 and 1 is 7 by 10. This is what we are asked to write. Got it? Now let's look at the second pair of numbers given. 3 1 by 3 and 3 2 by 3, right? 3 1 by 3 can be written as 3 times 3 plus 1 divided by 3. So 3 times 3 is 9, 9 plus 1 equal to 10. That's why this is 10 by 3, right? The first rational number is 10 by 3 and the second rational number is 3 times 3 plus 2 divided by 3, that is equal to 11 by 3. 3 times 3 plus 2, that is 11 divided by 3. So 11 by 3. So we have to find a rational number between 10 by 3 and 11 by 3, right? For that, I can write it as 10 by 3 plus 11 by 3 divided by 2 is the rational number in the middle of these two numbers, right? Now let's find the value of the numerator, that is 10 by 3 plus 11 by 3. Look at the denominators. Denominators are 3 and 3, right? Since the denominators are same, we can simply add the numerators so that it becomes the numerator of the resultant ratio. That's why this is going to be 10 plus 11 divided by 3. So 21 by 3, that is equal to 7, right? So the numerator is 7 and the denominator is 2. So 10 by 3 plus 11 by 3 divided by 2 equal to 7 by 3. Sorry, 7 by 2. So the rational number in the middle of 10 by 3 and 11 by 3 is 7 by 2. That can be written as 3 1 by 2, right? So let's go to the next part of the problem, that is root 4 by 9 and root 2. We have to find a rational number between these two. Root 4 by 9 can be written as root 4 divided by root 9, right? Root 4 is 2 and root 9 is 3. 2 by 3 is a rational number and that can be written as 0.666 and so on, meaning it is a non-terminating but repeating decimal, right? So when you express root 2 in the decimal form, you get to see that it is also a non-terminating decimal, but it is not a repeating decimal. That's why root 2 is called an irrational number. Got it? The process we have learned earlier is to find the rational number in the middle of two rational numbers, right? In this particular case, we have one number given, that is root 4 by 9 is a rational number, that is 2 by 3. whereas root 2 is an irrational number, right? So let's not apply that process. What I can say is the first number is 0.666 and so on, and the second number is 1.414 and so on, right? So we said that 2 by 3 is a rational number and root 2 is an irrational number, right? For that reason, we are not simply applying the procedure we learned earlier, right? What I'm going to do is I'll write one number between 0.666 and so on and 1.414, 213 and so on, right? We know that 3 by 4 is 0.75, right? It is a rational number and it comes after 0.666 and so on, and it comes before 0.141 and so on, right? This can be one of your answers. For example, you can use 1 also as an answer because 1 also comes in between these two numbers, 0.666 and so on, and 1.414 and so on, right? Similarly, you can write as many numbers you want. Got it? Question number 3. Classify the numbers given below as rational or irrational. We are given total 6 numbers. We are asked to classify them as either rational or irrational numbers, right? Let's start with the first one, that is 2 1 by 2, right? 2 1 by 2 can be written as 2 times 2 plus 1 divided by 2, right? This goes in the denominator, and 2 times 2 plus 1 goes in the numerator. So that is 5 by 2. 5 by 2 is a ratio of two integers, right? 5 and 2. We have two integers, 5 and 2. Their ratio is 5 by 2. For that reason, we say that 5 by 2 is a rational number. Got it? A number which can be written as a ratio of two integers is called a rational number, right? Using that definition, we can say that 5 by 2 is a rational number, right? Now let's go to the second part of the problem, that is root 24. Root 24 can be written as root 4 times 6, right? 4 times 6 is 24. We can write that as root 4 times root 6, right? We know that root 4 is number 2, whereas root 6, we cannot simply express it as an integer. For that reason, I am keeping that as is. So this is 2 times root 6, or we can read it as 2 root 6, right? Root 24 equal to 2 times root 6, right? We learned that root 6 is an irrational number, right? 2 is an integer. It can be written as 2 by 1. It means it is a rational number, right? Whereas root 6 is an irrational number. We also learned that rational number times an irrational number always gives you an irrational number. It means 2 root 6 is an irrational number. It means root 24 is also an irrational number, right? Root 24 is an irrational number. Got it? Now let's look at the third part of the problem, that is root 16. Root 16 can be written as root 4 times 4. That can also be written as root of 4 square, right? We know that this is, for example, you have square root of a, that can be written as a power half, right? It means square root of 4 square can be written as 4 square to the power half, right? So you can write it as 4 power 2 times half, that is equal to 4 power 1. That's why we say that root 16 is equal to 4, right? 4 can be written as 4 by 1, right? That's why we say that root 16 equal to 4 by 1 is a rational number, because it is a ratio of two integers, number 4 and number 1. Got it? Now let's look at the fourth part of the problem, that is 7.7 with overbar on number 7. It means I can write it as 7.7777 and so on, right? It is a non-terminating and repeating decimal. this particular 7 is repeating as many times as you want to write, right? We learned that non-terminating and repeating decimals can be expressed as ratio of two integers, right? It means the given number is a rational number, right? So let me write that 7.7777 and so on is a rational number, because we learned in this chapter that non-terminating but repeating decimals can be expressed as ratio of two integers. Got it? Now let's look at the next part of the problem, that is square root of 4 by 9. We have seen that square root of 4 by 9 can be written as square root of 4 divided by square root of 9, right? Square root of 4 by 9 can be written as square root of 4 divided by square root of 9. It means it can be written as 2 by 3. That's what I have written. 2 by 3 is a ratio of two integers. That's why we can say that square root of 4 by 9 equal to 2 by 3 is a rational number. Got it? Now let's look at the next part of the problem, that is minus root 30. Let's keep minus as is, and root 30 can be written as root 5 times 6. That can be written as root 5 times root 6. We have seen root 5 is an irrational number, root 6 is an irrational number, right? So without going into further details, we simply say that minus root 30 is an irrational number. Got it? Now let's look into the last part of the problem, that is minus root 81. Let's keep minus as is. Root 81 can be written as root 9 times 9. That can be written as root of 9 square. I'm keeping the minus as is. So that can be written as minus 9. Right? Minus 9 can be written as minus 9 by 1. It means it is a ratio of two integers, minus 9 and 1. Right? For that reason, I can say that minus root 81 is a rational number. Understood? Question number 4. Represent the following real numbers on the number line. If necessary, make a separate line for each number. Let's start with the first number, that is 3 by 4. We know that one can draw the number line as shown here, right? You have 0 in the middle of the number line and 1, 2, 3 on the positive side, and minus 1, minus 2, minus 3 and so on the negative side, right? On the left side. Look at 3 by 4. We know that 3 by 4 is greater than 0, right? It is a positive number and it is greater than 0. At the same time, we know that 3 by 4 is equal to 0.75. It means it is smaller than 1. What this says is 3 by 4, when you represent on the number line, it is going to be in between 0 and 1, right? Because it is greater than 0, it is going to be on the right side of 0. At the same time, since it is less than 1, it is going to be onto the left side of 1, right? So it is going to be in between 0 and 1. Please note this. For that reason, let's divide the number line between 0 and 1 into 4 equal parts. Why 4 equal parts? Because the denominator 3 by 4, denominator of 3 by 4 is 4. For that reason, we are going to divide the number line between 0 and 1 into 4 equal parts. Let's do that. This is first equal part, this is second, this is third, and this is fourth. You have 4 equal parts now, right? By drawing 3 red color lines, I could generate 4 equal parts. Please note this point. Now, let me write 0 as 0 by 4. The first red color line as 1 by 4. The second line as 2 by 4. And this is 3 by 4. This is 4 by 4. We know that 0 by 4 is 0. That's what is there already here, right? And 4 by 4 is 1. That is what we have already here, right? So what we are asked to represent? 3 by 4 on the number line, right? This is the number we are asked to represent. Got it? Now let's look at the second number, that is minus 9 by 10. Look at the number line as shown here. Now I have only taken minus 1, 0 and 1. One can have 2 on this side On the right side you can have 2, on the left side you can have -2, and so on, right? Look at this, -9/10. It is smaller than 0, right? At the same time, it is greater than -1 because it is greater than -10/10. Got it? For that reason, now I can say that it is going to be, the point we are going to mark on the number line is going to be in between 0 and -1, right? So let me divide the number line between 0 and -1 into 10 equal parts. Why 10 equal parts? Because the denominator is 10. Now let me draw 9 points which are equally placed so that I'll have 10 equal parts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Right? Now let me start with 0. Let me write it as 0/10. Right? This is 1/10. This is 2/10. This is 3/10. Sorry, I'll be having all minus signs here. Right? -4/10, -5/10, and this is -6/10, -7/10, -8/10, -9/10, and this is -10/10. Look at this, 0/10 is 0 and -10/10 is -1, right? So the number we are asked to represent is -9/10, that is here. Let me mark that. Got it? Now let's look at the third part of the problem, that is 27/3. We know that 27/3 is 9, right? When I draw number line, 9 itself can be represented directly on the number line, right? So let me mark this as 27/3. Got it? The next part of the problem is we have to represent √5. You see, till now, whatever numbers we have seen are rational numbers. √5 is an irrational number. Let's look at this. How do I represent √5 on the number line? Right? 5, let's consider this particular 5. 5 can be written as 4 plus 1, right? I can write 5 as √5 whole square, and 4 as 2 square, and 1 as 1 square. You see, 5 equal to 4 plus 1, I have written it as √5 whole square equal to 2 square plus 1 square. Why we have written like this? There is a reason for it. You will understand as we progress with this problem. We know that in a right triangle, the square of the hypotenuse is equal to sum of the squares of the other two sides. This is called Pythagoras theorem. You will be learning about this particular theorem in triangles chapter or similar triangles chapter, right? As per this particular theorem, you can say that hypotenuse square is equal to side 1 square plus side 2 square. Let's now compare that with this. When you do that, you can say that √5 is hypotenuse, right? Side 1 is 2 and side 2 is 1, right? Now let's make use of this and draw a right angle triangle on the number line. Let's consider the number line as shown here. Here we have 2 square, or one side is 2, right? For that reason, on your number line you have to have 0, 1, 2. These are required. Okay, you can have extra numbers like 4, 5 and so on. On this side you can have -1, -2 and so on, not a problem, but you have to have 0, 1, 2 and maybe up to 3 compulsorily, right? Now one side, if I say that one side of the right angle triangle is 0 to 2, right? The other side is going to be 1, right? Let me draw a perpendicular line from number 2 of size unit 1. When you look at this particular size is 2 units, right? This particular side length, if you look at, this is 1 unit, right? When you draw a line from this particular point to this particular point, that is going to be the hypotenuse of this particular right triangle, right? That is of length √5. This is what the Pythagoras theorem is saying. When you have one side of right triangle of size 2 and another side of right triangle of size 1, then as per Pythagoras theorem, you get root 5 as the third side, that is called hypotenuse of the right triangle, because the side opposite to right angle is called hypotenuse. Got it? Now we have marked root 5 in this figure, but we have not marked root 5 on the number line, right? So to do that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a circle with center at 0 and radius as 0.5. When I draw that circle, it cuts the number line at this particular point, right? Let me mark that point. That point is root 5. Got it? So now we have represented root 5 on the number line. Now let's look at the last part of the problem. That is, we want to represent minus root 16 on the number line, right? Minus root 16 can be written as minus 4. So root 16 is 4, right? If I keep the minus sign as is, root 16 is 4, we know. For that reason, I can write it as minus 4. We know minus 4 can be straight away represented on the number line, right? This is minus 4, right? Let me call this particular point as minus root 16. Got it? I hope you like the video. Please like, share and subscribe to our channel, Learn to Score. Thank you.